business where you have all your processes, and if you have the feeling like you constantly have to follow up with employees, need a bunch of post-its, or need to circle back in useless meetings, then this year is the video for you. Because today I want to share with you the easiest process that I found, or the easiest way to automate your business processes. I'm Linus. I'm working as a software consultant in ERP, so in big software. I'm working with the largest companies in the world, but I also worked in my own small tutoring business. I worked in a sales company that had $1 million months in construction. So today you're going to be a really I'm going to show you a really practical way for you using free software, just one simple free tool that you can use to automate your business. Doesn't matter if you're a solopreneur or if you have 20 to 40 people, probably above that, it becomes a little bit more tricky. But for this size that you're probably in, this here will be the perfect video for you, just showing you how to easily structure your processes, how to build them out in software, and how to coordinate with everyone else in your team so nothing ever gets forgotten. You don't need post-its, you don't need endless emails or meetings. That's the goal of today's call. So yeah, excited to have you here. And if that's the right thing for you, then welcome to Systems Saturday. All right, I think before we go into it, let me just quickly check one thing here. If the live stream is actually on. This is my first time ever. I'm honestly not sure where I can see that. Over here. Good. All right. So whether you're a solopreneur or you have a small team already, you probably know that feeling that you have to keep everything in mind, have to manage everyone because just nobody is really following the processes that you designed for them to follow, right? And it sometimes can be very frustrating because it feels like you don't get the right people, even though you have nice people, but they just seem to not understand what's going on. And it is just very, very exhausting to constantly circle in the back of your head, right? I really know what I'm talking about because in our tutoring business, we had over 100 different contractors, all of them young people, most of them students, and I had to manage all of them. So I really understand what it means to think you can't sleep at night because everybody's just going Rambo and you just can't understand why. And we did it for 2 or 3 years until we finally started to do a simple practice that I want you to do if you have your own business or if you are alone and want to start a business as well. One day of the week should be dedicated to not fighting the daily fires. Again, you will know what I mean when I say that. Not fighting the daily fires, not learning something new, not consuming more information like you need a new course, podcast, whatever. What you should be doing is sitting down just for a couple of hours, think about your specific processes, and write them down very clearly in detail. Now you will say, well, I can't send my employee a Word document, and you would be completely right. That's stupid, nobody will follow that, right? So today I'm gonna show you how to put everything in software so everybody throughout the process will be notified at the right time. Or if it's just you, how you can structure your thoughts into a checklist. But for this, it's very important that you know your own processes. And if you don't, then this video is good for you because you finally got to start understanding how to run a business. Because let me tell you something, most companies or a lot of entrepreneurs as well never get out of the stage of constant fight and flight mode. It is insanely stressful, and usually there's 3 to 4 options. Either you fail the company, you hire a CEO that runs the company for you, you sell the company and retire early, or you might get a heart attack and die early. And I'm not joking here because you know exactly it's true. So what is the solution to that? For this, we got to first understand what a process actually is. Because there's a lot of confusions out there. People are like, oh yeah, I'm having projects and everything. a process and a project are two completely materially different things. So let me quickly share this with you. Here, let me bring you over on the iPad. Now, probably the two biggest things that we need to keep apart when we're talking about processes, talking about projects, talking about your business systems, standard operating procedures, whatever. There is something called a project, and then there is something called a process. A project, oopsie. Yeah. A project is over here. And then we have processes. Now, the main difference between a project and a process is that a project is a one-time deal to accomplish a specific goal. It's usually a time restriction on that, and you wouldn't repeat that every day. Whereas the process is multiple times execution. So this is the main thing for you to understand. While a project has one goal, the process also has one outcome or one goal, but it's also geared towards continuously improving. How could I? Continuously. So why is that so important? Well, when we're looking at this stuff here, we want to understand one thing. If you want to rip out a change for your business, right? Have a drastic 180 for, I don't know, something. In that case, you will run a project. For example, a new CRM system, so new customer relationship management system. By the way, later in this video, I'm going to show you how to actually build one of these yourself. Very easy, and as I said, for free, without all the unnecessary clutter that most people bring in that. But this would be a one-time deal, right? You don't install a new CRM every day, and it basically has one goal, right? Install this new CRM, and then we're done. Whereas a process is something that you keep on doing. Now, because this is the main thing, let's swipe over to processes. Examples. For example, a process is when we bring on new employee, right? So onboarding. Onboarding, by the way, we have two, right? We have the employee. Oh, we have three. Then we have the customer. Now we have a contractor, right? A contractor is a little different than an employee because it's not really hired by you, but you still work with them. So depending on your business processes, for example, in the structure that we had with our tutoring business, we had 0 employees, but we had 100 different contractors. They were basically all just contractors, right? So this is, for example, each one of these here is a different process. So what a lot of people do when they first start out in business, and let's say they hire one freelancer. Let's say we have one freelancer from, I think, Fiverr screen, right? So we have a freelancer here. And then we have an employee. It doesn't change the color for some reason. Anyways, let's say we have an employee and a freelancer. So the freelancer is going to build us a website, while the employee is going to do our content management. What unfortunately a lot of business owners do is basically think that this is the same thing, right? They're like, hey, onboarding. Even worse, if they say, hey, onboarding as well. That's all onboarding. So when you don't have defined processes for everything that you want to do in all the different aspects that come with it, it can be a little difficult. Hang on, am I sharing? Oh no. So when you don't have these defined processes for every single scenario that you're walking through, then your business will always struggle because it will be impossible to write things down in a consistent manner that you will always be able to follow because the processes will be different, right? Hiring a freelancer to build your website, what should be in as a part of a project, it's not the same like hiring a new employee. It doesn't require the same paperwork, doesn't require payroll, right? There's a lot of different things. Now, what we want to do when we understand the difference between a project and a process, today I want to show you a tool that is basically called a Canva tool, Canvas, where you have different columns, so different stadiums of a process that we can push a single process execution through. That was probably pretty hard. So let me show you that on the thing here again. That doesn't make too much sense. Let me share screen here. So what I'm talking about is, let's say I'm thinking about if we're going, I'm probably going to show you even two examples that I used to actually execute in two different businesses. Let's start first with the onboarding for the contractors that we did in our tutoring business, right? Because let's just start there, and then we will move on through to something like a CRM system, but more of the sales process that I also used before. Let's first start with the onboarding of a new contractor. Now, the steps that we went through in the onboarding process was, first, we had a lead, right? So in this stadium here of our process, this is step one in our process, if you want so, right? Step one is we get a new lead. We're super unfamiliar with business. A lead is basically somebody who could become a prospect, who may be interested, and that you need to interview, sales call, right, reach out to, whatever. Now, in here, we have lead number one and lead number two. Now, they're currently still there, so I need to reach out to them. What we did is the next step is to interview. Right? So I was conducting the interviews with all our independent contractors to see if they match my expectations, if they have the right vibe that you need for tutoring, a little bit more relaxed. Need to be kind of friendly because teachers in schools make really bad impressions on some of the students, right? They hate the subject and they want somebody who, brings a little bit of warmth, and obviously need to be on time, etc. So what I did is I interviewed them, and then I either kicked them out if they weren't good, or we went on to contracting. That's step 3. Now, what comes after contracting? A lot of you guys, and this is exactly where your problems begin, are like, well, after contracting, then they're hired, right? Well, yes and no. The issue is, if you're going right to hire, then where's the rest of the process of training them, right? This is an onboarding flow. So when are we training them? When are they getting access to certain material? How are we reevaluating them? How are we testing them? How are they getting support? And what happens if something doesn't work out? How do we control that they got their first student, right? So there's a lot of steps to follow. We had, for example, after the contracting, the next step was, let me translate from German. Access to training, right? So they got access to our training website where they had to conduct the training. If they conducted the training completely, then we had as the next step ready for first student. And then first student given, support, follow up, done. So we basically had everything scripted until here. And then we had another process over here saying, hey, if ever something happens with this specific teacher or tutor or contractor, then we had more different steps. We're not going to go through all of them now, but we had basically a process to troubleshoot if something was ever wrong. So we basically have a whole process from the initial lead, interview, contracting, access to training, ready for the first student given, and then we have support or follow-up done, including notes, documents, and checklists. Because that's probably your next question. You're like, well, that's nice, but what does this, it's just a structure. What does it give me? Like, where can I attach my documents? Oh no, we need it different. Like we need to send out this specific email. Hang on just a second. We can automate the whole thing, or at least put everything into a system that makes it really, really easy to execute that for you, right? So that's what we're gonna do in just a second here. I just want to emphasize how, even though this may look a little bit chaotic, you will understand when you get into the details. And probably for me, your business processes on the first view would also look a little bit different, right? It is what it is. Every business has their own processes. This is the main reason why, while I do love tools like Go High Level, that you for sure have heard of if you're a coach and everybody wants to sell you on Go High Level, or if you have things like Flowsy, Iman Gaji's agency software, all these SaaS solutions that come with pre-built processes. It is nice. It is nice if your business is like every other business. If it is not, then you will soon get frustrated with the software. And it's actually something I see with my clients as well. I had a friend, or not a friend, but I know him from here in Cyprus where I live. He actually did a Salesforce implementation for a sales company. He's doing MasterCard and Visa, and they are doing pretty good, and he wanted to get more efficient, I guess. So he spent 250,000 pounds, I think, on a Salesforce implementation. And then I was asking him while we were eating out, I was asking him, hey, Sebastian, how is it going? And he was like, well, we're back to using spreadsheets now. So if you start building these processes here on paper, like we just did, or on your iPad or whatever, writing these down and getting really, really clear on your structure will help you forever to make good business decisions. Like, I can't stress this enough. Maybe you think, 250,000 pounds is not the world. Well, 2019, a supermarket chain in Germany called Lidl and Schwarz tried to implement SAP. Now, they paid over 500 million euros before quitting or stopping the project because it didn't work and starting all over again. 500 million euros. It tells us two things, right? First, you don't want to fuck up this decision when you build software into your business. And second, it is worth to spend a lot of money on it. And businesses know that because you need software to support your business processes. Otherwise, you have to keep everything in your head and you won't be able to do that forever. So there will mistakes be happening. And it also is bad for the employee, how do you say that? Employee satisfaction or something, right? I work in different companies, and the worse the processes are, the more pissed off the employees are. Always. Well, I can tell you, always. Because they don't know what to do, and because they don't know it, they have a bunch of managers, like 90% of the company's managers, that are micromanaging down while they are being micromanaged from the top down. It's just a super rigid, stupid structure that a lot of you guys probably know from your own experience that a lot of people suffer from, and that you don't want to build into your own business, even though it's very easy to fall into that trap. Anyways, there was a lot of talking. I hope by now you're clear on why it is important to have processes for your business. And I hope you understand that you need to find the solution to this yourself. There's nobody who will come to you to tell you what processes you should be using. Or there is a lot of people because they make a lot of money doing it, but you should not follow their advice if you haven't done your homework yourself first, right? So do this practice that we just had. Think about what is the smallest process that we're talking about, right? Don't say onboarding or sales, right? Strip it down, like onboarding for a contractor, onboarding for an employee. It's the same like saying, hey, I'm traveling via airplane on a 2-week vacation. That is a different checklist than me packing my bags to leave Germany for good and go to Cyprus, right? Both is travel, both is going by airplane, but one is a 2-week vacation, the other one is moving. So it is very different. Try to understand every single process that your business has. It will be a lot of work. You probably discover over 100 different processes, but this is what really will bring your business forward. Now, you're probably thinking, well, all right, but how do I put this into software, and isn't that super expensive? Now, there is a lot of expensive software out there, right? That does not mean that you need to buy this expensive software. And as I said before, a lot of companies actually struggle when they buy, when they buy expensive software. Let me, how can I go in here? All right, this is better. Sorry, I was leaking some data here. So this here is a cool tool called Trello. Now, Trello is one of my all-time favorite tools. My business partner, Scott, always gets super annoyed with me when I can't shut the fuck up about it, but it is free. Maybe you have even seen it, like even Microsoft offers you an integration with Trello. If you use any automation tool today, they all offer you integrations with Trello. Why? Because it's fucking awesome. And the reason for that is that it's incredibly reliable. It has automation features. It is always synced. I've never seen anything async in there. You know how super annoying it is if you, I don't know, run Microsoft or something, and somebody is changing something and it doesn't get synced on cloud or whatever. Never. This never happens. Super duper reliable and really, really nice for collaboration. I'm going to show this to you in a second. This is actually the Trello overview that I used with my business partner, Alex, when we were running the tutoring business. And I just want to use that to show you really quick. Probably you're also interested in seeing the plans. I mean, you could check them out yourself. But what I want to show you is you get a free plan. And the free, again, we had 100 contractors coming into the tutoring business. We had at least 150 clients running through Trello, and we never paid them a fucking penny. Sorry, Trello, if you're listening to that, reach out and give me an affiliate link or something, and I put that in the description, because you guys are doing awesome work. And I think everybody's not using the software is just, yeah, I don't know what you're doing. Well, so this is really perfect for you if you run a business that is not like incredibly data heavy. So a bad example would be, hey, I'm scraping 10,000 leads every month and then I'm running cold email outreach campaigns. There's better tools for that, right? I gotta admit, Go High Level would be the right choice for something like this, right? Because you have integrations there. You can just manage huge amounts of data way better. But if you're more in the coaching space, if you are, for example, in construction, we sold solar systems and we had a pretty similar process to the one I showed you before. Let me just quickly jump back here. So we basically had two different processes you're going to see in a second. We had, again, lead. And you probably start seeing a pattern here when I can start typing correctly. The lead came in. We had first call. So this was a two-step sales calls process, with the setter. I was setting my own calls. So yeah, anyways, it was lead, first call, second call, and I was doing maximum 3 calls. Sold. Oh, there was actually something in between. Oops, sorry. I'm new to iPad, so I don't know how to do it. So wait, first call. And after the first call, because we were in construction, we had one person in the business create an offer. Offer created. These were usually for private people, right? Their houses. We were selling solar systems for, let's say, 30,000 euros each, sometimes 15 to 500,000, but most of them around 30,000. Now, this was basically our process where we just put the sales process in here, and we had one trigger. If the offer was created, now I was ready to move on to the second call, present them the offer, and then hopefully close them on the second or the third call. And as soon as it was sold, then this here just triggered an email to the construction team, and they would start their process of reaching out, scheduling the appointment for going there, checking out the location, and making sure everything works. And that was basically our process. So this whole business, they were running $1 million months, operated on this stupidly simple system here. It's just amazing. Let me show you. So when you go into Trello. Now again, this will be the simplest thing you've ever seen to build any business process. Let's start from here. This is what you will get when you log in for free. And they will let you open, I think, 5 boards or something. I didn't check it. Or even 10 boards by now. Like they making their free plan better. It's also unusual. Like they're making everything better. So 10 boards per workspace. Now, to be honest, we only used 3 through the lifetime of our tutoring business, which was 4 years. Luckily for me, because I can just now open one for the demonstration here. Now, let me put this over here. Let's call this board. The first process we're going to build was the first one we looked at for the employee onboarding or contractor onboarding. Let's say employee onboarding. All right, you have different workspaces, etc. Doesn't matter right now. Let's start create. And it gives you like an empty screen. You can customize the background and everything, but this doesn't matter, right? This shit doesn't matter. What matters right now is that you understand the system and how easy it is to build here. So you have basically something like a lead where we started out, right? We check what we had in there. Lead. Oopsie. So we have the lead. We add this list. Then we have interview. Then we may have, I don't know, background check. Then we have contracting, access to training. Then we had ready for first client, tasks, whatever, right? So this is our rough structure. Again, you will probably say like, Linus, this doesn't make too much sense. I need way more information in here than this here provides me. This is not enough. And that's fine. So the way that you handle this in here is you will create something called a mastercard. And this is where you really have to sit down and think through your own process. This here is new employee, or let's say employee name. And what I usually do is something like this. City, role. So this is basically our dummy card. Now, when you get into a card here, you have so many options. Would take me way too long to explain it to you. But you can have a description here as long as you like. What I usually like to do is put in the description for this process here. For example, please push the cart whenever a checklist is completed. Right? That would be an option. I usually have a pretty long description. You can have different sizes here and everything, right? Can make it beautiful. You can attach things, so that's also very nice. We always have attachments when we bring on new teachers because we require them to have an ID verification. So I have them send me their ID, etc. We actually do this attachment automatically. I'm gonna create another video for that to show you one day because we have a pretty cool automation flow. But for now, you could do it manually, right? It's just an ID. You can just go ahead and attach it. Or you could attach notes that you had from a phone call or whatever it is, right? Like, yeah, whatever you want, just go ahead and attach it. Now, it shows you unsafe changes. I'm be honest, love this software. Even if you drop out of here, it will still save your changes. Okay, if you close down everything, maybe you would lose something, but yeah, never happened to me. Like these guys are really, really solid. Now, let's upload just something, right? Again, you can even put the uploads into the text here, etc., etc. Can look at this. Oops. Right? You can do basically whatever you want there. Now, there is a lot more to cover, and the main thing for you is probably the checklist feature. Now, let's add a new checklist. For example, let's say contracting. Because, as I said before, you might be thinking, well, that's nice, but contracting is a lot of different steps, actually, if you think about it. Send them the contract. Or no, probably add another item, negotiate, right? First we negotiate the pay, then we send them the contract. We're probably not going to do this in the interview because maybe we got an idea, but when we move forward, then we want to negotiate the pay. So we negotiated the pay, we sent them the contract. We're not going to push receive back. Let's say check contract, save to SharePoint, right? Or wherever you need to keep your contracts, etc., etc. Sign, copy, and send back. So this here is, now you see why this is so important, right? This is exactly what I'm telling you. There are so many steps. If you actually think about it, I was just like, well, contract is probably multiple steps. And I just started typing and I'm like, fuck, I can probably put way too much in here. I don't have time for this right now. But you could end up with 10, 15 different steps for just contracting, right? And just think about the headspace that you need on a daily basis to keep in mind all of these things. And if you ever hire a consultant like me, if you become one of the biggest companies in the world, you will really struggle and pay me a lot of money to sit down and do this exercise for you if you haven't done it. Because how could I automate your processes if you don't know how they look like, right? What different steps are involved. So this here is a really, really useful exercise, and you should do this for every single step that you go through. Interview, background check, contracting, access to training. This is really, really important. I'm really big on training. And then you have your whole support thing here, basically, the support phase, I call it, right? When they're ready for their first work, project, client, whatever, you probably want to have another list for the first assignment, feedback, right? Then you want something like, I don't know, first month reevaluation, whatever it is. And you can put all this information into the card description, or you can even write comments down here. So I could say, we did the evaluation. And the way that I use this comment section is like, hey, it's just for me personally, if I'm just using this here alone, it's just like a track record because it will show you the date, right? Here it says just now, but it will show you the date that you created that comment. You will see in a chronological order everything you ever added to this card. Now, all right. And you will have checklists and you will have attachments. You can even link, I don't know, to SharePoint, different forms or whatever you want in here. You can give dates to by when this here should be completed. And you can add labels. I usually think that clutters everything, but you could say, hey, this is, I don't know, employee, right? I think that's pretty useless. I found we used it for the subjects when I was in tutoring, right? We used it for the school subjects because we had 100 different cards in here, so you could filter for the subjects. But yeah, again, there is way more things that we would like to go through, than I would like to go through today. But I just want you to understand the base idea. Now, if you have this master card defined, what you basically want to do is never touch it again and just make it a template down here. So we're going to click on that, make it a template. And from now on, we go back here, it says this card is a template. And you can always create new cards, even automatically. That's what I usually do. You can create new cards from this specific template. Right? And I can give it a name. Let's say I'm bringing in Alex. He is from Cologne, Germany, right? And he is the, I don't know, CFO, right? I need a new chief financial officer. Create a card, and now everything that you put into this template will be in here. Checklist, right? All this kind of stuff, your attachment, everything you put in here. Obviously not the comments, right? It will get rid of the comments, and that's good because I want a track record for every single card. And what I'm going to do now is I have a new lead here. I'm going to call Alex. I'm going to schedule an interview. There's probably at some point my checklist will be completed when it says scheduled interview, and I'm going to push it here. Right, and you can just drag and drop. It's just so fucking stupidly simple. I can't tell you how nice it is, honestly. And you can just move this card through the process until it ends up somewhere here in the support phase. And then honestly, when it's HR, I usually end my, or even if it's sales, I usually end my list with something like how would you say that in English? Past clients, past employees, whatever, right? And you can just drag everything. Oh, I already had this list, right? I might just call this past for now, and then just store everything here. And even if you archive this card, you can just get rid of it very easily. You can even then find it by saying, hey, I'm looking for Alex here. Like, this tool is really, really good and will save you a lot of headspace. It's free and you can build all your processes there, right? Let me show you another one just for shits and giggles, because I honestly hope you're getting the idea of what I want to show you here, because it's so incredibly important. I struggle to explain it because I also just started sharing my experience here. But again, I'm working with small companies, but also some of the largest companies in the world, brands that you know and love. And they are in hospitals, states, they are incredibly disorganized. Incredibly. And dreadful. It's a total waste because we have businesses where you have managers over managers and they just can't do what they do best, right? That's the whole reason why they are a business. It would be so much better for society if companies could focus on what they actually want to do, because that's what they are doing best, instead of, supporting staying alive, if that makes sense. Like most people want to start a company, and then soon it gets so heavy, even for, I don't know, coaches, for small agencies, for trainers, online businesses, for everything. It feels like, oh, taxes and this and that. Oh, we have to do our finances, blah, 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 blah. And then, everything gets heavy. And if you start thinking like this here in this process manner, I can promise you everything will get so much easier. And by the way, I haven't shown you the best part yet, so just stay tuned for just 1 second, because I'm gonna show you how you can actually go into automate this kind of stuff here. So let me share you this. And for now, we're gonna create a new board, and we call it Sales for Solar. And this will be really cool. Now we have a lead. We have offer created. Oh no. First call. Offer created. Second call. And then close. If you're not familiar with sales, close means was sold, right? So here's the lead. I will call them, then I'll schedule a first sales call. Again, right? If you're not familiar with the sales process, I just want to show you. This here is not the same as a CRM. If you hear about that, right? A CRM is a customer relationship management tool. And there are CRMs like Go High Level, there are CRMs like Salesforce, there are large CRMs like, for example, Oracle Cloud or SAP have tools for that. But for a lot of businesses, if you're, for example, a coach, whatever, everything that's kind of high ticket, this is actually pretty good, because you will not have incredible amounts of leads that you need to manage in the beginning. You just need a quick, easy solution where you never can forget anything. And if you have 1 or 2 more people, for example, the first one you're going to hire probably is a virtual assistant that they're going to do customer support, a little bit of onboarding, etc., that you don't have to explain everything to them in email. I don't want you to ever write emails again, right? This you should replace that whole part of needing to explain something to your employee, and hey, this specific customer, we did this and that already, and then could you reach out to them to do this and that? In that time you could have already done the call. So what I want to do is, I don't want to show you the checklist and everything right now. Just want to explain to you the process, and then we're gonna do something really cool. So this is a card. Let's say customer. Now, what I want to do is I want to add one more list here. Waiting for an offer. I want to push this here. Again, it's drag and drop. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call the lead. I'm going to schedule a sales call. And in the sales call, I'm going to do look at the photos of their house. That's how we do solar sales, right? You look at the photos of their house, you show them on your screen, you explain to them a little bit about the things, you ask them why they really want it. Like, why do you want it now? Like, why do you need the solar system? And why did you come to us, especially, right? So this here is what's happening in the first sales call. Now, I'm going to wait for an offer. I'm probably going to add some photos here and some information from the specific client. So I'm going to say we need, again, I don't know, with 10 storage. This is something you would probably say, like a 10 kilowatt system with a 10 storage. That's usually what you would have for I don't know, a small house. All right, it doesn't even take what I want to put in there. All right, now I would give them photos, because this has to go to a technical planning team. Now, what would be really annoying, and this is where I told you can automate your processes, right? Because you haven't seen any automation from me. You have only seen a nice system that makes it easier for you to understand everything, keep everything visual, and push through the different phases and make sure you don't forget anything. That's not an automation. That's just making it easier on your brain. I think that's also pretty good already. But to make it better, we can have this here automate something, because this here is annoying, right? So what happens now? Nothing. Do I need a technical planning team to go into this board and check every day if they see a new customer card here? Sure, we could, right? Why not? That's an option. We could also send them an email. Hey, I have a new card in waiting for an offer, right? That would take me probably 30 seconds. But again, it's annoying. We want everything to be frictionless, everything to be unannoying in business, everything to be easygoing, uncomplicated, right? And a clear line of communication that doesn't fail because, I don't know, oh, I didn't read my emails, oh, it went to my spam, oh, blah, 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 you know, all the shit that goes on. So what we want to do is notify this person that is supposed to plan whenever this person that's supposed to do the technical planning, whenever we push a new customer there, because I'm in sales, I'm calling a lead, I'm doing my first sales call. Obviously, it's my responsibility to put everything in here, right? I could do this also, again, more automated, but for now, let's say I attach some stuff here and then I push it here. And that's it, right? I don't want to look at it again. I don't want to touch it. I just want to be notified when it jumps over here. So what I'm going to do is, for the sake of this thing here, first, I'm going to invite, hang on, over here. First, I'm going to invite another member to this board. And this is Alex, right? Alex, my friend, that I run the tutoring business with me. So he doesn't freak out. So let's share this and add him to the whole board. So now he has access to everything. Like, this is the most easiest thing you've ever seen, told you. Now, first of all, he can't see everything, but he still isn't getting notified when anything gets here. And this is where Trello is just coming with pre-built automations for you. Like, honestly, you don't have to fiddle with Zapier or N8N, Make.com or Power Automate. You can do a lot of things in here. So we're going to click on automation and click on rules, or you can get email reports and whatever. But for the sake of this conversation here, let's say create a new automation. And then you gotta add a trigger, and it's gonna give you everything like super, super easy, right? And I want to say when a card is added to a list by me or by anyone, right? Let's say by anyone. So everybody could use my board and process. When a card is added to the list, waiting for an offer, like honestly, just showing you right away. When a card is added to the list, waiting for an offer by anyone, then we need to select an action. And here's, you can do so many things. You even see, hey, you could send an automatic Slack message if your business is using Slack. You have a Jira integration if you're running your support tickets or something through Jira or project management or whatever. You could also use these auto sort features and everything. What we want is, we have multiple things of doing this. Either I could add Alex to this specific card as soon as we're adding this card to the waiting for an offer. So he's going to get notified in the bell and it's going to say something. Oh, again, I'm really, really good at flashing client data here. Sorry. But you will get a normal notification in the bell. You can get this on your phone as well. Like, they have a really good mobile application on your iPad or whatever, right? So this is one option we could do. If you're saying, hey, Linus is all cool, but then they have to look for these notifications and nobody likes pinging on their phone all the time, can we not just give them an FYI email? And of course you can. So you could say, for example, when the card is added to a list, waiting for an offer, we're going to send an automatic email to, I'm not going to put in my email because I'm already flashing enough data, but you could say, send this to Alex, and this will be FYI, new offer to create. And then you can put in a message here. You can actually put in like short code, right? That you can click on the email and it's going to send you immediately to the specific card. What I'm sometimes doing, because I'm living out of a to-do list called Things 3, Things 3 has actually an inbox that you can connect to an email. So I'm going to send into my to-do list that I'm living out of all day long. I'm going to send automatic tasks from Trello whenever something happens that requires me to open it up, because I don't want to be in there. I don't want to look at it. Like I don't, the less distractions I have, the better, right? But for some people, this could be perfect, right? I'm sending this there. Some people send an email. It doesn't matter. What matters is that I can very easily just create a simple automation here, click on save, and now when I go back to my board, I can click on X here, and I push this card over, then Alex is gonna be notified about this. And you just saw it here, AD, right? AD was added to the card. So Alex just got probably an email. He got a thing in the notification here. And now he is gonna go ahead and plan this offer for my solar sales customer. This is how you start building out and automating your business processes, right? And then you just want to think, where do I communicate? Like all these things, where do I communicate every single day? And it feels it's draining me and it's stupid and I didn't read the email and I know they're not going to respond in 24 hours and I need to follow back. And we had a meeting already. If you have multiple employees, you know what I'm talking about. We had a meeting already. I told them, but they're not doing it. Like all this shit, you have to really think through it clearly, use a whiteboard or whatever you have, and make sure that you take all your points of frustration that you have, all the things that you on a daily basis that you face, where you're like, oh God, not again. Why did I forget it again? Right? Or didn't we talk about this process 100 times? All these things you want to write down in paper. And then you want to create a free Trello account. Again, you can buy it. I've never bought it. I think they have some more options, and actually you can attach people, for example, to specific tasks in the checklists. That could be neat. You have more automations. You can do everything. But what you want to do for now is create a free plan. It's free forever. I'm just gonna go ahead and start build out some of the process. Like honestly, take just a couple of minutes, couple of hours every week on one day where you usually, I don't know, consume a David Goggins video or something. just sit down and look at that stuff, walk through it, think through it, and it will be incredibly liberating. Is that a word? I hope. Will be incredibly liberating for you, because it will just alleviate a lot of the stress that you're facing on a day-to-day basis. And it will also give you a way more streamlined way to coordinate yourself with your employees, with other people that work for you, with contractors as well, right? So I hope you also see why this year is way better than, for example, having a to-do list. I know that some people think that it is a good idea to go ahead with the tasks, I think it's called in Microsoft, like, oh, we already have Microsoft, so let's use tasks and push them, assign them to different people. Like I'm sorry, it is shit. Your business doesn't exist because there is everyday changing tasks. It exists because you keep on doing one thing very good, maybe a couple of things, but that's what a business is. So you have processes. Maybe you're not aware of them, but they are repeating themselves over and over and over again. And if you start writing them down and improving them every single time, then you will get better drastically over time. And it's, by the way, it is what I showed you in the beginning when we were looking at my beautiful painting here. And I said, what is a process? Right? Continuously improving your business. This is what a process is, and it is what a process does. And what I gave you in today's call, what I gave you in today's call is basically the process on how to build your processes. And this is going to make your business better. It's going to make your life better. You can become a geek. You can start having checklists and processes for everything, for packing your bags when you go on vacations, right? So you never sit at the airport again, scared that you forgot your toothbrush or something. And you can start using it for everything else that you do on a repeating basis. Your taxes, your I don't know, what is it? I don't know. What do you do on a repeating basis? Yeah, for example, I don't know, but your business processes, right? Sales process, hiring process, your bookkeeping process, accounting process, monthly reviews, all these things. You should have a clear process for that. And before you have that, here's a final word of warning. Before you have that, you need to stop watching videos. You need to stop listening to gurus that tell you, or to, I don't know, speakers or whatever that tell you that your company needs to stop using Zapier or needs to start using Make, that you need AI agents, or that will be probably the worst decision ever in your life, or that you need a specific SaaS product. Before you're not clear on your processes, you should not do anything else that goes into the automation area, because you have nothing to automate yet. Play with the automations in Trello, because they are only gonna do what works with your processes. Get clear on them, and then later, when you have this clarity, then is when you're gonna go ahead and watch more of my videos that I will bring out in the future about how to further automate, how to integrate different tools and build systems that actually work and that are simple to use and support you instead of ending up you supporting the system. Yeah, that's System Saturday. Thank you for joining in, and I hope to see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.